How is it possible for two brothers to build sports empires and end up betraying everything to achieve it? Imagine a small German village divided by an invisible line that is not on maps. Every time someone goes out on the street, the neighbors look at their shoes to find out which side they are on. What happened between the Dassler brothers was a tragedy with profound lessons, from the humble family workshop to eternal enmity, passing through conspiracies in the middle of war. Behind the curtain are hidden Nazi propaganda, secret letters, denunciations after bombings, and even a symbolic football match decades later. In this story, we will combine sporting feats, from Jesse Owens to Pelé, with dark episodes of betrayal, to understand how ambition and morality collided in the 20th century. Humble beginnings, the washerman and first steps. Herzogenaurach, Bavaria, 1919. World War I had left the Dassler family broke. His father, Christoph, had been a shoemaker, and the brothers had grown up surrounded by the smell of leather and the hammering of soles. With Christoph absent and Mother Pauline at the forefront, Adi, Adolf, and Rudi delivered other people's clothes door to door to earn a living. Every day they pushed wheelbarrows loaded with dirty clothes like the washermen of the town. They washed, ironed, and dreamed of something better. The Dasslers weren't wealthy, but they shared something powerful, a passion for the sport. Adi, the youngest, was creative and introverted. He spent hours in a makeshift shed designing sneakers out of metal nails, helped by his friend Fritz Zehlein, the son of the local blacksmith. Rudi, the eldest, was outgoing and talkative. He always convinced any athlete that he needed Adi's pair of boots to win. Little by little, his wooden workshop became too small. In 1924, they officially registered the Gebrüder Dassler Schuhfabrik, Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. 2 years later, they had to move to larger premises. The business grew thanks to each pair of shoes perforated with nails. In that humble workshop, life had a rhythm of shared aspirations. Adi refined each model in secret, and Rudi sought out new clients. Without realizing it, they were laying the foundations of two empires. They created the first shoe with removable cleats for athletics, and soon local athletes were winning races with their boots. Although the brothers continued to cooperate, differences began to appear. Adi wanted to perfect every detail, and Rudi wanted to conquer the world. That shared dream would end up being a piece of a tragic puzzle. The factory, sales, and the rise in interwar Germany. At the beginning of the 1930s, Germany was experiencing political upheaval while a mass sports culture emerged. Hitler had not yet come to power, but sport was already mobilizing crowds. The Dasslers saw their chance. They wanted to equip champions. Rudi traveled all over Germany with prototype suitcases, and Adi made dozens of pairs of sturdy boots. In 1928, her first Olympic medal cleared the way. Athlete Lena Radke broke a world record in the 800 meters in Amsterdam with Dassler spikes. That photo of him on the podium was the best possible publicity for his shoes. While the world played, the family industry expanded. In 1928 and 1932, they exported to all of Europe and soon believed that they could go further. In 1933, they became associated with Nazi sports. They built models of military boots, Kampf and Blitz, and joined the National Socialist Party because all big businesses had to be with the regime. Rudi enthusiastically embraced the Nazi machine, imagining secure contracts. Adi did it more out of pragmatism than conviction. Even so, the Dasslers created footwear for young Hitler Youth and regional football teams. Subtle advertising. Nazi athletes wore their sneakers with pride. The Berlin Olympics episode had already raised his profile, but in the following years the race for athletic sponsorship intensified. Adidas put athletes of all kinds first in its ads, no matter their background. Jews, blacks, or Aryans all wore the 3 stripes when they broke records. Thus, without realizing it, Adi and Rudi's brand was gaining popular sympathy even outside Germany. But with each agreement, he upped the ante. The Olympics showed that sport could overcome propaganda, and they knew how to take advantage of it. The world saw them as star manufacturers. However, the shadow of war grew. Right at the zenith of his Olympic success, something would forever change his destiny: Nazism and political opportunity. With Hitler in power, sport became state propaganda. The Dasslers felt the pressure of the moment. Rudi further strengthened ties with Nazism, and Adi accepted his membership in the party, not out of conviction but because without it there would be no credits or contracts. They improved their models. Football boots, athletic shoes, anything the Reich demanded. They equipped soldiers with sturdy shoes and athletes with their creations. The workshop became a cog in the machinery of the Third Reich. They learned to manufacture quickly and adapt to the scarcity of materials. The German success in the 1936 Olympic Games included them in history. Adi traveled restlessly through the Olympic Village until he met Jesse Owens, the black sprinter from the USA. It is said that he gave her a pair of boots with nails. Owens won 4 gold medals with them, humiliating Hitler's Nazi propaganda. The 3 stripes of Adidas became legend when Owens showed that not even intolerance could stop speed. The world applauded, but in the German factory the tension increased. Producing for the regime was lucrative, but every shoe added to the Nazi uniform was kept in the conscience of both brothers. Nothing prepared them for what the war would bring. Rupture and betrayal during the war. When the war broke out, everything changed. The family workshop was requisitioned to manufacture military equipment, backpacks, belts, even helmet parts. The brothers were called to the front. Adi was briefly assigned, but soon his courage in the workshop brought him back. He stayed to create new footwear for the troops. Rudi, on the other hand, was sent to the Eastern Front, where he experienced horror under enemy fire. In the winter of 1943, the final break occurred. A night of bombardment served as the stage. Both families ran to the same bomb shelter. Adi and his wife Kata entered seconds after Rudi and his wife. Upon entering, Adi exclaimed upon seeing the darkness, "These dirty bastards are already here again." That phrase resounded in the coldness of the shelter. Rudi got it tragically wrong. He thought Adi was insulting his own family. The damage was done. Soon after, Rudi fled before the arrival of the Red Army and was captured by the Allies. In prison, he heard terrible rumors. He was accused of having been a member of the SS, who had betrayed him. Rudi automatically thought of Adi. Filled with rage, he denounced his brother before the post-war denazification tribunals, accusing him of collaborating more than he should with Nazism. It was revenge declared out loud. Adolf awaited trial in the ruined factory. He told a bitter truth. He had saved a half-Jewish mayor during the Nazi hunt by giving him shelter in his home. Several witnesses showed up. Even a black athlete confirmed that Adi never discriminated against anyone in his workshop, and a Protestant pastor would recall the help in the village. Thanks to those statements, the court concluded that Adolf had used his affiliation only to maintain his business and help as much as possible. He was placed under a few months of minor arrest, but released almost immediately. Rudi came back with wounds and hatred. When he arrived, he saw the entire factory standing. Each repeated what they considered to be the truth. Adi was suspicious of the accusations. Rudi believed he had been betrayed. At the end of the war, there was no possible reconciliation, not even a shared view in the workshop. That German village that had admired their work now looked at them separately. The fratricidal fight that began in the darkness of an air shelter was about to intensify in the middle of the world market. The Great Division, Adidas versus Puma. It is 1948. Herzogenaurach has already become accustomed to the post-war period, but that morning he wakes up with a strange air. Adi summoned all the workers to the old workshop. There he announces the irrevocable decision: the partnership is broken. Each employee must choose who they want to continue with. History records that only 13 people chose Rudi. Most of them stayed with Adi, seen as the original engineer. Rudi then set out to build his own empire. He first named his company Ruda, after Rudolf Dassler, but soon renamed it Puma, in honor of the feline's speed. Adi wasted no time on his side. He joined his nickname Adi with the first letters of his surname, and thus Adidas was born. Within days, 2 rival factories were created. The city was divided like a chessboard. The Aurach River and an old railway line marked the border. To the north, the 3 stripes of Adidas. To the south, the Puma Panther. Herzogenaurach earned the nickname the City of Bent Collars because everyone looked at the ground so as not to offend the neighbor with their brand of shoes. It is said that butchers and hairdressers hung signs indicating whether they were Adidas or Puma, so that people would know which one to trade in. Local football teams aligned themselves with one side or the other. In a few weeks, where before there was unity, now there was only open rivalry. From that division came an unusual fact. From two visionaries who one day dreamed together, two companies came out that were going to dominate the world of footwear, but confronted as enemies. German sporting pride morphed into a trade war. No one in the village doubted. The brand of sneakers that your family wore was your flag. Thus were born Adidas and Puma, sworn enemy officers born of the same blood. The marketing war, competitions, sports machinery, and images. The following decades witnessed another form of conflict, the battle over image and marketing. Each World Cup or Olympic Games became a new battlefield. In 1954, with the World Cup in Switzerland, Adidas' first masterstroke came. German coach Sepp Herberger refused to pay Puma's demanding fee to dress his team and accepted Adi's boots. The result was legendary. In the final against Hungary, in the middle of the mud, the Germans wore interchangeable Adidas cleats and won 3-2 in an epic match called the Miracle of Bern. The photos of the goal with Adidas boots were historic. Germany regained confidence and Adidas consolidated its global fame. Puma did not give up. He sponsored African and South American athletes, looked for opportunities in the United States. In the 60s, the rivalry crossed to boxing. Adidas dressed Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier in their epic fights, associating the three stripes with the glory of the ring. Puma bet on other stars. It financed Brazilian soccer clubs and speedrunners in the East. Each sporting image conveyed a brand message. The peak moment occurred in the 1970 World Cup with Pelé. The brothers agreed not to fight to sign him to avoid a ruinous auction, but Puma broke the pact. A Puma agent traveled undercover to Brazil and managed to get Pelé to wear his king shoes in the decisive matches. In one famous play, Pelé pretended to tie his shoelaces in front of the cameras just before scoring. He showed the logo to millions. With Puma at his feet, he scored memorable goals and lifted the cup. The next day, Puma was selling boots like never before. With each sporting triumph, each TV commercial, the dispute escalated. Sponsorship budgets grew to unprecedented levels. In the 70s and 80s, Adidas bought other brands. Rockport, Reebok, and Puma ventured into urban fashion. Both bought the rights to use logos of entire leagues. The era of sports advertising had exploded thanks to them. Finally, the dispute ceased to be local to become a global legacy. They turned simple shoes into pieces of desire, and the stadiums into giant showcases. Two companies that spun out of two brothers had unwittingly created the multi-billion-dollar global athletic footwear industry we know today. But the old question remained, is everything worth to win? Each trophy held carried the weight of those past conflicts. Epilogue: legacies, acquisitions, and symbolic reconciliation. Today, the history of Adidas and Puma has evolved beyond the Dasslers. Horst Dassler, Adi's son, led Adidas to globalization in the 70s and 80s. He signed high-level sponsorships, European Cups, Olympic Games, and opened the company to the public. In 1995, Adidas went public, although the family continued with important shares. Adidas SE currently has a turnover of around 23,000 million euros a year with around 60,000 global employees. Puma had a different fate. Controlled by Kering, formerly PPR, for years, in 2018, Kering distributed its shares, leaving Puma again as an independent company in the market. Today, Puma has a turnover of around 8,800 million euros per year with about 15,000 employees, a minor but respected giant. Even in Herzogenaurach, time healed wounds. In 2009, a symbolic gesture occurred. Adidas and Puma employees played a charity soccer match together, forming a single team in honor of Peace Day, with executives from both brands inaugurating the match. It was like watching two rivals at least symbolically bury 60 years of fighting. Today, in the village, it no longer matters whether you wear the three stripes or the panther. There are local museums that tell the story of the Dassler brothers without hatred, and public fountains with sports sculptures in which only athletic achievements are celebrated. Globally, Nike consolidated its position as a leader by far surpassing them, but Adidas and Puma are still present in every game, every race, every court. The scars have healed so much that it is even said that the Dasslers, who died without speaking to each other, went so far as to seal peace on their tombstones with an ambiguous message: "May the best win." No one checked it, but the people remember it with a smile. In the end, those who changed the history of mass sport were two brothers who learned the hard way that success has several sides. This story shows that the brands we admire also have a hidden face, and that the biggest label can hide secrets. Adidas and Puma's recent strategies, 2023 to 2025. Global competition and positioning against Nike. Adidas has gained ground against Nike, driven by the rise of its retro Terrace line, especially with iconic models such as Samba and Gazelle. These classic collections triggered significant global growth for the German brand. In 2024, Adidas reported sales 12% higher than in 2023 and revised its annual guidance upwards, while taking advantage of a drop of more than 10% in Nike sales. Internet searches for Adidas Samba even surpassed those of Nike's historical models, reflecting the positive moment the company is going through. Much of this momentum comes from the United States, a market where Adidas has traditionally struggled but is now looking to win over through local collaborations and fashionable sports products. Puma, with a smaller market share, has focused on sports niches to differentiate itself. In 2024, it launched its first global campaign in a decade, centered on the idea of speed and linked to the Olympic Games. This strategy reinforced its motto, "Forever Faster," by partnering with elite Jamaican sprinters. However, its financial results showed weakness. In the second quarter of 2025, its revenues fell by 2% globally, with significant falls in key regions such as the United States and Europe. New lines of business and collaborations. Adidas has bolstered its presence in the US with high-profile partnerships. In 2024, it presented a collection inspired by American college style with the sporty and rich brand, and relaunched the classic Superstar in an edition designed by Pharrell Williams. In addition, it incorporated new sports ambassadors such as WNBA star Satu Sabali and American football player Travis Hunter, seeking to consolidate its image in key markets. Puma, for its part, multiplied its creative collaborations. The renewed Fenty line with Rihanna stands out, with models such as the Avanti, and in 2025 it surprised with a collection inspired by Hello Kitty and characters with 90s aesthetics. In basketball, it signed designer Salahi Bembury to create a new flagship sneaker and announced that it will launch disruptive silhouettes during 2025. In addition, he signed a historic contract with the Portuguese Football Federation, which since 2025 has dressed all the national teams, expanding its international visibility. Innovation in sustainability and sports technology. Adidas maintains a strong commitment to sustainability. In 2023, it announced that 96% of the polyester used in its products already comes from recycled material, ahead of its original goal. He also developed circular projects such as the Futurecraft model. Loop, designed to be completely recyclable. On a technological level, it experiments with advanced processes such as 3D printing, with launches such as the Climacool Laced, a shoe created with this technique that combines innovation and design. Puma has also innovated in its high-performance products. Its NitroFoam cushioning technology has become a key piece in its most advanced running shoes, including models designed for the Olympic Games. The brand has launched ultralight football boots, new versions of its Deviate Nitro Elite line, and the MB.04 from LaMelo Ball, all with technical components designed for professional athletes. In sustainability, it pursues specific goals for 2025, such as the majority use of recycled materials and renewable energy, although it is still in the process of achieving a greater impact. Featured marketing campaigns. Adidas has opted for campaigns that combine global sport and urban nostalgia. Its strategy of keeping the terrace trend alive with limited editions of Samba and Gazelle kept the consumer's attention throughout 2024. That same year, he took advantage of tournaments such as the European Championship and the Copa America to boost sales of official national team shirts. In addition, It has reoriented its image to the American public with lifestyle collections and sports signings, compensating for the loss of business in Asia. Puma concentrated its marketing on major sports competitions. In 2024, it launched a global campaign inspired by the Paris Olympics, focused on speed and starring elite athletes such as Armand Duplantis and Shericka Jackson. This strategy reinforced its association with high-level athletics and its motto, "Forever Faster," seeking to project a halo effect that benefits its entire running line. Recent financial performance. Adidas has reported solid results. In 2024, it exceeded its forecasts with sales growth of 12% and an operating profit of close to €1,337 million. Looking ahead to 2025, it projects more moderate growth, but maintains a rising operating margin and the ambition to gain ground on Nike in markets where it was previously lagging. Puma, in contrast, faces greater difficulties. Although in 2024 it achieved slight growth in sales, its net profits fell. In 2025, it had to announce a cost-cutting plan to improve margins by 2027. However, the situation was further complicated by a 2% drop in sales during the second quarter of 2025 and the impact of new tariffs in the United States. The company appointed a new CEO, Arthur Hold, with the mission of redirecting its strategy and recovering lost growth. Closure and reflection. After this story, there are questions without easy answers. To what extent does business ambition justify questionable ethical decisions? Is success legitimate when it was born in the midst of family betrayals and decisions made under the sword of war? Every trophy and every contract signed at that time was imprinted with a dilemma. The trophy was won, but at what human price? As we close this chronicle, we invite the reader to reflect. The great sports brands we see today have glorious names, but they also have complex origins. They are part of the global story, and in it, each shoe tells a fragment of that heritage.